watching Sun TV, broadcasting to the world from studios in Providenciales, in the beautiful by nature Turks and Caicos Islands. Sun TV, your source for real news as it happens.
The Progressive National Party launched its 2012 election manifesto on Tuesday, October 30th at its Airport Road headquarters before a crowd of jubilant party supporters and candidates who are contesting the November 9th general elections. I'm Leslie Garland, and thanks for watching. The PNP's 60-page full-color manifesto entitled Going for Gold, A Plan for Prosperity outlines the party's short-term, medium-term, and long-term goals, which PNP leader Dr. Rufus Ewing said will be based on the principles of good governance along with fiscal and financial responsibility. Dr. Ewing said the manifesto is a document full of life and progressive ideas, adding that it caters to people from all walks of society in the Turks and Caicos Islands, in addition to catering to the overall progress and development of the country. The manifesto was also presented to the people of Grand Turk on Tuesday afternoon, and it is also available on the PNP's website at www.pnp.tc. We now bring you more on the PNP manifesto launch in this report. I'm Leslie Garland reporting from the PNP headquarters as they release their 2012 manifesto on the road to prosperity.
I'd like to acknowledge the presence of the dignitaries that are in the audience and also members of the clergy, my fellow PNPs and my fellow Turks and Caicos Islanders. Thank you very much for being here this morning.
This manifesto is the People's Manifesto. The People's Manifesto, on which the PNP will execute on their behalf. This is their idea, their vision, what they would like. And so we are going to do just that. The manifesto highlights several areas, and I will just take you briefly through it. And I will not go into details of anything. As I said, you're going to read it. But it outlines our mission statement, which we truly believe in. The message from your leader and deputy leader, which outlines their vision and what we intend to do with PNP.
My contribution, principally to the plan, is the section on national security, which you will find when you read the document between pages 41 to 43. I'm not going to tell you what it says because I want you to read the document cover to cover.
So today, it's a proud moment for me as we present our manifesto, and I am going to make you a promise here today that as long as I am a part of the government, I will make sure to the best of my ability that every fiber of my nerve, every nut is committed to making sure that the promises that we make in this manifesto is delivered for you, the people of the Turks and Caicos Islands. May God bless the Turks and Caicos, and may God bless you all.
The area that I'm partly responsible for in the manifesto deals with healthcare and the social development component of that manifesto. We say that healthcare is a fundamental right of every citizen living in this country, and we are determined to make sure that it happens.
Every single word that is written in this document, the PNP government will deliver on. But of two particular important things for me when we talk about tourism, and those are found on pages 14 through 15. And number one, because we take tourism and investment so important in this country, as with our national policy agenda, the first thing we talk about is jobs and the economy.
In one of the longest criminal trials in recent times in the Turks and Caicos Islands history, two defendants, Lorenzo Caesar and Jerome Rigby, of the four charged for the armed robberies of Jay's Jewelry Store in Grace Bay, have been set free. A trial which started in early September of this year has been weaving its way forward through a wealth of legal submissions from both prosecuting and defense counsel. Legal technicalities about DNA, confessions, and a slew of other legal issues arising in the trial have seen long days in court, where the legal mind of prosecutor Evans Welch has matched against a defense comprised of Noel Skippings, Laura Maroof, Courtney Barnett, and self-defended accused Wilkie Arthur. Arthur, Sun TV has learned, had imported London counsel on legal aid, whom he subsequently fired and then continued to defend himself. Matters came to a critical head on the morning of Tuesday, October 30th, when prosecutor Welch informed the court that of the 4 defendants, he would be entering a nolle prosequi against 2 of the defendants. The Crown's position is that it presently is not left with sufficient evidence that it can secure a safe conviction against Lorenzo Caesar, represented by Laura Maroof, nor can it likewise be sufficiently confident of a safe conviction against Jerome Rigby, who is represented by Courtney Barnett, and therefore elected to enter what is a technical termination of the trial on the criminal charges against Caesar and Rigby. However, a proviso and conditionality is reserved by the Crown prosecutor to recharge the 2 defendants if changed circumstances or evidence later warrant that same can be advanced if the Crown sees a reasonable prospect of a conviction. Roxanne Lockhart, represented by Noel Skippings, and the illustrious Wilkie Arthur, continues as counsel on his own behalf. The Sun noted that Caesar merrily left the courthouse and with a broad smile jumped on a freedom ride in the back of a pickup truck passing the Grand Turk courthouse. Rigby, by contrast, the Sun can confirm, does not have as easy a ride. He is facing further charges in other matters. The trial continues, presided over by the Honorable Chief Justice Edwin Goldsborough. As the November 9th general elections draw near, the interim government continues to announce a host of new initiatives, including inward investments and laws. The latest in these almost daily announcements was a press release which stated that 3 agreements have been signed by Governor Rick Todd, which will see 3 luxury star resort hotels built at a cost of $500 million in Providenciales. The Memorandum of Understanding between TCIG and developer Desarrollos Hotelco Group will see nearly 400 5-star guest rooms added to the Grace Bay area, though the first hotel to be built on a 10.5-acre site adjacent to the landmark 7 Stars Resort. The MOU also covers Hotelco's plans to build a further 2 luxury resorts with a further 500 guest rooms also in the Grace Bay area. They will confirm the premier brands at a later stage. Consultancy firm KPMG TCI has been employed by Hotelco to complete a full social and economic impact study for the properties. Governor Todd said this is the best possible vindication of the new Turks and Caicos inward investment policy, management structure, and approach to attracting inward investment on the best terms for the taxpayers of the Turks and Caicos Islands. Todd said, quote, "This confirms the major international investors are impressed by the reforms that we have made over the past 3 years, and despite global economic difficulties, see the Turks and Caicos Islands as a great place in which to invest and do business. Our economy has been growing since 2010 by some 4.3% alone last year, and is now set fair for future economic growth. The people of the TCI have every reason to be proud of these achievements and to look forward to the future with optimism." End quote. Pedro Vera of Hotelco added, quote, "We were attracted to the TCI because it is a high-end tourism destination with great potential, friendly and welcoming people, and an excellent investment climate. We look forward to investing in the TCI and being a participant in bringing luxury resort brands to these islands." End quote. Desarrollos Hotelco first visited the TCI in March of 2011. The TCI Government Investment Unit has been in close dialogue with the developer since February of 2012. Desarrollos then worked with Horton Realty and the investment unit to secure the 10.5-acre Sodalco site. A second parcel of land known locally as the Mandalay site was also secured in Grace Bay. It is on this site that Desarrollos proposes to build the 2 further hotels. The investment unit has facilitated technical meetings with the Planning Department and Airports Authority to ensure a coordinated approach to working with the developments to help ensure the sustainable and supported growth of the island's infrastructure needs and airlift capacity. Desarrollos is based in Venezuela, where it owns 3 hotels managed by Marriott. It has also developed a Ritz-Carlton resort on Aruba. The new hotel will not exceed 96 feet in height and will not be physically taller than the Seven Stars, which is currently the highest building in the Turks and Caicos Islands. 67-year-old British national Dale Levac has been appointed by the Ministry of Government Support Services on a short-term assignment from mid-November 2012 to March 2013. Levac, who is currently the training manager at WIV Channel 4, will project manage the practical implementation of the RTC ordinance and support the permanent secretary with the development of the state radio station, including assisting with the establishment of the RTC Board of Governors, reviewing the operations of RTC, providing training and broadcasting, programming, editorial control, and political impartiality. Anya Williams, who is the Deputy Governor of the Turks and Caicos Islands, said Radio Turks and Caicos enjoys a special place in the hearts of the people of the TCI. And given Dale's vast experience of producing radio and television programs to the highest editorial standards for the BBC and others, TCIG believes that there is a short-term requirement for him to transfer these skills to the state broadcaster. Levac, who has been at WIV for just around a year, has been regarded by some of his colleagues and members of the media profession as the mouthpiece of the interim government, based on his style and manner of reporting, which has largely been in their favor. There has been outrage countrywide about Levac's appointment, since it is believed that there are many qualified young citizens of the TCI who can do a better job than he can. With just under 2 weeks to go until the elections on November 9th, the Supervisor of Elections, Dudley Lewis, has written to candidates to remind them that under the elections ordinance, they are not allowed to offer inducements to electors to influence their voting intentions. Dudley Lewis explains, quote, "I have been satisfied that campaigning up to the present time has been overwhelmingly fair and free. By issuing this announcement, I wish to ensure any tendency to cut corners and disregard election law is avoided during the intensive final days of campaigning. I have also written today to the leaders of the political parties and the independent candidates to remind them of their obligation to continue to ensure their campaigns remain within the law." End quote. During political rallies, meetings, or general campaigning, candidates, political parties, or anyone associated with them are not permitted to provide food, drink, gifts of any kind, or cash, as these could be interpreted as an attempt to corruptly influence a voter in the way they may cast their vote at the election. This behavior is known as treating and is illegal. It has been illegal for many years, although in past elections, some people chose to ignore it. Such behavior is no longer being ignored. The person offering this kind of inducement is committing a serious criminal offense, and so is any member of the public who accepts a gift or cash. The supervisor will follow up all reports received where this behavior is illegal and will not hesitate to collaborate with the police to initiate criminal investigations. He also invites members of the public to inform him if they are aware of any incident involving inducement to voters. Mr. Lewis also points out that inexpensive t-shirts, caps, and advertising materials provided by political parties and candidates are not regarded as treating. A fair election untainted by any hint of corrupt practices is in the best interest of the citizens of the GCI. As the country prepares for what is expected to be a very keen election process, Evangelist Othello Missick has been given a mandate to spread the word and message of Christ throughout the Turks and Caicos Islands. In an exclusive interview with Sun TV, Evangelist Missick said this. Good day, Evangelist Missick, and thank you for being here with us. I just wanted you to elaborate more on your message titled Unforgiveness and tell us a little bit more about it.
A few years ago, the Lord gave me a vision of all of the churches throughout the Turks and Caicos Islands. And in the vision, we were all gathered outside the church. And he said to the various churches, I want you all to hold hands. And I noticed in the vision there were persons from certain churches that didn't want to hold hands with members of other churches. And then the Lord said to me, well, I have raised up in this country persons that I've called my gap people, and I want them to come forth. And I saw these individuals coming forth from different directions throughout the Turks and Caicos Islands. And they stood in between the various churches, and these were the people that were bringing them together. I know that God has called me to be one of those gap people. And so this is what this message is all about today, unforgiveness, helping to bring about healing to our land. But as I said earlier, in order for that to take place, we all have to take an inventory of our lives. I have to take one of myself. We all have to. And in doing so, we would see that, you know what, I really have done some things wrong that I need to deal with at this time. Because God really wants to unite this country. But it cannot be united with unforgiveness. First of all, because He's a root God, He deals at the root. And the root is unforgiveness. If we're going to be united as a people, and if we are going to move on as a nation, we have to deal with unforgiveness. But I must say quickly, when we pray and we ask God to forgive us, and He forgives us, and we go to the person or persons we've offended, and they say, you know, okay, I forgive you. Yet we find that we feel from time to time that guilt. And so what God is saying, I will give each of you, those that are really serious, I will give each of you a tailor-made process. In other words, I will tell you what you must do to deal with that guilt. And I think that is what we have been missing. We have prayed, we have asked God to forgive us, we have gone to the persons we have offended, and they have told us, yes, I forgive you, sister, I forgive you, brother. But yet when we see that person out in public, we try to avoid them, especially if we see them before they see us. And so there needs to be a forgiveness process. And that can only come from God. God will tell.
That's our Sun TV News package for today, Tuesday, October 30th. Until next time when we bring you more real news as it happens, directly to your computer, your mobile phone, or your tablet. Until then, I'm Leslie Garland, and thanks for watching.